महादेव महादेव महादेव।
ये स्वामी जी, साउंड इज ओके।
आवाज आ रही है?
या अब आ रही है।
हाँ, बीच में ये इनका दक्षिणामूर्ति स्तोत्र भी सुनाई नहीं दे रहा था।
हाँ वही तो, अभी आ रही है, अच्छी तरह से आ रही है।
आ रही है, ठीक है। हम आरंभ कर देते हैं। ओम ओम यो ब्रह्माण विदधाति पूर्वम् यो वै वेदांश्च प्रणोति तस्मै तं हदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाश मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। वेदान्तार्थ विभासकाय गुरवे शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादी नगेन्द्र संघपवये योगीन्द्र वन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्त दिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधाम् बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततम् पूर्णाय बोधात्मने। ब्रह्माहं यत्प्रसादेन मयि विश्वं प्रकल्पितम् श्रीमत्स्वयं प्रकाशाख्यं प्रणौमि जगतां गुरुम्। यः परमात्मा जगत्सृष्ट्वा प्रविवेश पुनः स्वयं तं कृष्णं प्रत्यगात्मानं वन्दे मनोहरम्। यस्य प्रसादादहमद्वयात्मा विश्वं समस्तं मयि कल्पितं च तं सर्वलोकैकगुरुं सदाश्री स्वयं प्रकाशं गुरुमानतोऽस्मि। गुरूणां चरणां पूज्यं प्रणिपत्य निरन्तरम् तत्कृपाद्वेषतो द्वैत चिन्ताकौस्तुभमारभेयो। Explaining the details of yauktika badha, meaning falsification through inference, inferential falsification. Let us not forget that even inference is also one form of pramana. And the way inference functions is a very interesting method. By the virtue that inference is a pramanam, meaning it has the capacity to generate knowledge. In the sense, it allows you to know something which was unknown before, and it shows something which cannot be falsified, cancelled, refuted by any other pramana. For example, just let us go back to the fire in the mountain. What is known to you through direct perception is the smoke, because your eyes are able to perceive the rising smoke from the mountain. You can say, I know there is smoke. So the knowledge that there is smoke is through perception, okay, through direct sensory perception. So it is a direct knowledge generated by the senses, in the sense, the chakshurindriya, the visual faculty. Yet, because you are that far away from the mountain, neither can you see the flames, nor can you feel the heat. So there is no way that direct perception can show you, allow you to know the presence of fire in the mountain. The question arises as, by looking at the smoke and the fire in the smoke in the mountain, what has allowed you to know there is fire in the mountain? So the knowledge about the fire in the mountain is not generated by direct perception for sure. Then the knowledge which you have now that there is fire in the mountain is such knowledge that it cannot be even falsified. Okay, it cannot be falsified. So obviously, you have known the fire in the mountain not through direct perception. There was nobody to tell you that there is fire in the mountain. So Shabda Pramanam is also not there, Pratyaksha Pramanam is not there, Upamana Pramanam is not there, Anupalabdhi Pramanam is not there, Arthapatti Pramanam is not there. How then, what is it? There has to be some Pramanam through, if there is knowledge, obviously there has to be the source from which the knowledge is generated. So we say, there is some other topic also, but over here, and I'm quite tempted to talk about it. I will come back to our original topic. The topic which I'm dealing with. Before that, what comes to me is this. Some people may find it quite useful. Look at it. What is Arthapatti Pramana? So I just said that any other Pramana has not generated this knowledge there is fire in the mountain. And in saying so, I also said even the Arthapatti Pramanam does not show. Why Arthapatti Pramanam? Some people are of the opinion that Arthapatti Pramanam is also inference. Is also inference. In the Arthapatti Pramanam, by seeing Devadatta, who has not lost even an ounce of his weight, though he is found not consuming any food during the daytime, he has not lost. And this is for 1 whole month that you are observing that Devadatta has not lost weight in spite of him not consuming any food during the day. Now, this forces you, how are you going to account for his fatness? Pino Devadattaha Divanamute. So the stout Devadatta does not take food during the day. This is what is directly perceived. If you are going to say it is inference, then look at that. How should inference function and how Arthapatti becomes a separate Pramanam, which the Mimamsakas have accepted as a separate Pramanam. So, Pino Devadattaha Divana Devadatta does not take food during the day. What has happened? So the direct perception is responsible only for this much knowledge, that Devadatta does not consume food during the day. Devadatta has not lost any weight is also a knowledge which is directly perceptible. He has not lost. Pinaha, he is stout. He is still stout, not lost. Then you can say anybody who does not eat or anybody who eats food maintains or retains the weight. But Devadatta is not eating and yet he has same weight. So there is a discrepancy. Eating food you can associate with stoutness. Not consuming food you can associate with loss of weight. So at the most you can say, since Devadatta has not lost any weight, he must be consuming food. Inference has allowed you to know that Devadatta consumes food. But now, this much inference has not allowed you to know that Devadatta eats food at night. What is the knowledge? Devadatta eats food at night. Okay. So Devadatta, since Devadatta has not lost weight, Devadatta must be consuming food. So the inference has allowed you only to know Devadatta eats food. But the Pratyaksha Pramanam is that Devadatta does not eat during the day. So now there is obviously a discrepancy between these two knowledges, and somehow there is a gap. So you cannot account for Devadatta's stoutness. You cannot account for Devadatta's stoutness. There is no other way the stoutness can be retained, maintained, without consuming food. And therefore, now in order to fill in this gap, which is in the sense a gap in the understanding, okay? In order to fill in this gap in the understanding, you arrive with a kalpana, with an suggestion that since he does not consume food during the day and yet he has not lost any weight, that means he must be eating food, but at night. Hmm? But at night. Eating food maintains the weight. Eating food at night maintains the weight. This is not the vyapti which you have established before. Mhm. Vyapti in the sense, for inference, a previous conclusion is necessary. But you do not have any previous conclusion about maintaining the weight by consuming the food at night. And therefore, arthapatti is not inference. Arthapatti by itself assumes the status of an independent pramanam. Okay? Therefore, arthapatti becomes yet another pramanam. So once again, how many pramanas are acceptable to us? Like the Patanjala people, the yogis, accept only three pramanas: Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Agava, meaning the Shabda, three pramanas. According to them, that all the knowledge that you are having can be accommodated under these three headings. The Mimamsakas, Bhattas, and also the Vedantins, we people, Advaita, Shankara Vedanta, we accept 6 sources of knowledge, 6 pramanas, 6 means of knowledge. What are those? Not 3, not 2, not 1, but we accept what is acceptable to us in our system is 6. What are those? So first of all, Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha Pramanam. Direct knowledge. The means of direct knowledge is called as Pratyaksha Pramanam. Then Anumana Pramanam. Okay. Anumana Pramanam. We can develop a chart, very interesting. Maybe we'll do that sometime. we can have the pramanas written on one side, 6 pramanas, then the various schools, like beginning from the Charvakas, Buddhas, the Buddhists, Jainas, then Ramanuja, Madhava, and Vedantis. Now, take then before even going to Ramanuja Madhava, we have Nayayikas, Sankhyas, Vaisheshikas. A chart can be created. Which school accepts which all pramanas? So the Charvakas accept only the Pratyaksha pramana. They do not accept any other pramana. So this is on your x-axis. You have the 6 pramanas. On the y-axis, we have all the various schools. Okay. So now we have a grid. We have a grid. So when you are going to look at the Charvakas, is Pratyaksha acceptable to the Charvakas? Yes. Take it out. Is Anumana acceptable to the Charvakas? No. Cross it. Is the Shabda Pramanam acceptable to the Charvakas? No. Cross it. Is the Upamana Pramanam acceptable to the Charvakas? Cross. Is the what do they call Upamana Arthapatti Pramanam acceptable to them? No. Cross it. Is Anupalabdhi Pramanam acceptable to the Charvakas? No. So out of the 6 pramanas, only one is acceptable to the Charvakas, and therefore Charvakas are only whatever that they account for human experience, according to them, is based only on one pramanam, and that is the Pratyaksha pramanam. Rest of it, they say, is Bhranti, is only a Bhranti, error. Nahi hai wo. Charvakas. For Buddhas, how many pramanas are acceptable? They accept only 2. Pratyaksha and Anuman. Then for Jainas, how many pramanas are acceptable? For Nayayikas and Vaisheshikas, how many pramanas are acceptable? For Sankhyas and Yogis, how many pramanas are acceptable? Then for Mimamsakas, how many pramanas are acceptable? How many pramanas are accepted by the Ramanuja, by the Madhva, and then finally by the Vedantins, how many pramanas are acceptable? So we accept 6 pramanas. What are the 6 pramanas? Pratyaksha, Anumana, Shabda, Upamana, Arthapatti, and Anupalabdhi. 6 pramanas. Okay. Right. This is just extra information. Prasangat Agatam. Okay. Now, why did we come into this topic? Because I wanted to say that the knowledge, there is fire in the mountain, is not brought to you by any other pramana other than inference. And this inferential knowledge is not contradicted, cancelled, or falsified by the other five pramanas, and therefore now this knowledge that there is fire in the mountain is born, has come from a valid means of knowledge. The inference in this case stands as a valid means. It does stand as valid means. Okay, so yatra yatra dhumaha tatra tatra vahnihi. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. This is the vyapti. Niyamena sahacharyam. Nirupadhika jnanam. All these three, keep them in your mind. So, when we are going to say yautika badha, we are looking at what in the book? Yautika badha. Badha means apavada. Desuperimpose. Badha, the word, if you are going to look in the dictionary for the word badha, the meaning that is going to be provided is badha means falsification. Badha means falsification. Then the author has said, the teacher, the author here, he has said that desuperimposition, apavad, badha, falsification, and vilapanam, dissolution. All these three words, he says, in our reference are synonymous. Apavad, badha, and vilapanam. All the three words are synonymous. They mean the same thing. What is the literal meaning of these three words? They have different meanings. Apavada means desuperimposition. Bada means falsification. And vilapanam means dissolution. Means dissolution. Now, when we are going to employ, in the sense, the cognitive faculty is going to employ the process of desuperimposition, all these three words will amalgamate to bring forth what is desuperimposition. So now, what is apavada? Apavado nama adhisthane prantya pratitasya tadvyatirekena abhavanishchayah. What is apavada? Come again and again with this. Try to remember it in the original words. Apavado nama adhisthane prantya pratitasya tad vyatirekena abhavanishchayah. It is a nishchaya. This badha or apavada is of three types: shastriya, yauktika, pratyaksha. Okay. such a badhas trividha. This badha is threefold. Trividha, shastriya badha, yauktika badha, and then finally pratyaksha badha. And the author in the original text Moola Grantha has already explained what are the three types of badhas. And in a crisp manner, we will read that and then go to the detail that he has provided about the Yauktika Badha, inferential falsification. Page number 115 from the top. Athatadesho neti neti neha nanasti kinchana ityadi shastrad brahma vyatirekena prapanchabhavaha shastriyo badha. What is called as shastriya badha? Understanding that since the world does not have any existence apart from its substratum Brahma, then what is truly there? Only Brahman is there. And therefore, the prapancha, the whole world, is seen exactly where it is absent, absolutely absent. And because it is experienced in the same location where it is absolutely absent, this now allows us to understand that it is false. It is only an appearance. What has allowed you to understand it is an appearance? Its presence is in the same location where it is absent. For example, when you look at the paper flowers, okay, these artificial paper flowers, they may look exactly like a flower. The color, the pattern, the shape is so much. Yet when you go and touch it, you say it is not real. It is false. Now question is, what has allowed you and how have you concluded that it is false? Oh, Swamiji, what is there? Hey, here, what is there? What is there? Don't sweep it under the carpet, because we are trying to understand how is our cognitive faculty able to understand the falsehood of that rose flower, paper flower. How was it able to understand? So we have to find out, are these the same elements present in understanding the falsehood of anything, whether it is Shukti Rajatam, whether it is the silver in the shell, or the pot in the clay, or the flower in the paper. Okay. In all the cases, the same elements have to be present, which allow you to understand the falsity of that particular object. So now, what have we said? How do you understand that badha? Adhishthane. So wherever it is, if the paper is not there, would you be experiencing the flower? No. let us say, remove the paper, burn the paper down, burn it down. So now it is no longer paper. Is the flower there? No, sir, it is all ash. No flower. So where is the flower seen? In the paper. So what the paper is the adhisthana, the substrate. So the flower is seen, and is the paper a flower? Can you say the paper is a flower? No, paper is not flower. Flower comes from a bud, and the paper comes from the pulp. So the causes are altogether different. So you cannot call the flower, you cannot say that the flower and the paper is synonymous, one and the same. They are altogether different objects. Flower is a flower, paper is a paper. So now the flower is seen in the same location where it is absolutely absent. And therefore, other than the paper, there is that flower does not have any existence, and therefore now we are able to conclude that the flower is false, not real. So we have all the elements of this definition which allow us to understand the falsity. Apavad, ad. Got it? This is the principle which you have already gathered. So now, this very principle we are able to see here in this Shruti. The Shruti says, Neha nanasti kinchana iha. Iha means here. Here means where? In Brahman. In Brahman, nana nasti. Nana meaning multiplicity. Neha nanasti kinchana. Not even an iota of it. Not even an iota of it. Iota of multiplicity, of duality is there in Brahman. And therefore, now by that sentence, we understand Brahman is non-dual. Now, what is Brahman? The very cause of this world. And therefore, by the cause, meaning the cause of all this duality is seen exactly where the duality is absent. Multiplicity is seen exactly where the multiplicity is absent. And the multiplicity does not have any separate, independent existence other than Brahman. And therefore, we have all the elements to say what is false. And therefore, this multiplicity or duality is false. How? Now, what has allowed you to understand this falsity? Know this falsity? The words of the Shastra. What has allowed you to know it? The word Shabda Pramanam. And therefore, Neha Nanasti Kinchana Ityadi Shastran. From this part of the scripture, we understand Brahma Vyatirekena prapancha bhavaha. What have we understood? The absence of prapancha. There is no other location in which prapancha can be. Prapancha meaning the world can be. And therefore, prapancha bhavaha, absence of prapancha, exactly where it is saying, adhishthane bhrantya pratitasya. So let us understand the sentence. Adhishthane pratitasya. If something is experienced in its location. Where, what is the location? The cause is the location. Where is the pot seen? In the clay. Now we are not saying the pot is on the table, the pot is on the chair, or the pot is on the floor. Wherever it may be, the pot will always be in the clay. So now the clay is the location where the pot is experienced. Adhishthane pratitasya. So we have the adhishthana, the substratum is there. What is the substratum? The clay, where the pot is seen. Okay. Or take the other example. Where is the silver seen? In the shell. You cannot say the silver is seen elsewhere. You don't see it on the sand, you don't see it in the water, you don't see it anywhere else. You're seeing the silver in the shell. So the shell is the adhishthana. Pratitam is adhishthana. But is the shell the silver? So silver is absolutely absent in the shell. So silver is experienced, piece of silver is experienced in the same location where it is absolutely absent. And therefore, now we are able to understand that the silver which is seen, which may be experienced, is badhitam, is falsified, or is false, is not real. Now this principle you can apply everywhere as far as the path is there. So Shastra, when has said, Nehananasti kinchana, Brahman is that where there is no duality. Then also we have seen Brahman is that which is the very cause of this world. When Brahman is seen, known as the cause of this world, and also Brahman is known as something that is devoid, bereft of all duality, now we know duality is seen in Brahman where the duality is absent. And therefore, prapancha bhava nishchayaha. So the absence of duality is understood, and this absence of duality means falsification of duality. The understanding, the firm understanding which arises out of Shastra is duality is false. This falsification of the duality has a reason, this understanding has reason from the sentence Nehananasti kinchana, and therefore now this is called as the Shastriya Badha. This is called as what? The falsification coming from the Shastra, from the scripture. So we are going to say it is scriptural falsification. Okay. So the first part, first type of falsification. The second one we have said is yauktika badha, inferential badha, inferential badha, falsification. मृद्व्यतिरेकेण घटाभाव निश्चयवत् निखिलकारणीभूत ब्रह्म व्यतिरेकेण निखिल प्रपंचाभावं निश्चित्य दृश्यमानस्य मिथ्यात्वनिश्चयेन ब्रह्मात्ममात्रत्वनिश्चयो यौक्तिकबाधः. This is the sentence. What is yauktikabadha? What is inferential falsification? Mrit vyatirekena ghatabhava nishchayavat. Bring me a pot. Bring me a clay pot without clay. Bring me a clay pot without clay. Is it possible to bring a clay pot without clay? And therefore, ghata. Well, I have brought you a clay pot without clay. Where is it? This is it. So is this a pot? Fill water in it. So the ghata abhava. There is no clay pot without the clay. There is absolute absence of the clay pot without the clay. So mrad vyatirekena, mrad meaning the clay. Mrad vyatirekena, apart from the clay, there is no clay pot. This is your nishchaya. This is your firm understanding. And therefore now this understanding allows you to see that the pot is only an appearance in the clay. What is the real object? The clay. And therefore, even a goldsmith is not interested whether you are going to bring a gold ring or a nose ring or a necklace or earrings or what design that bracelet is. He is not interested. Is it gold or not is what his interest is. The name and form, its utility, etc., has no use to the goldsmith. The goldsmith looks for what is real, not for what is an appearance. When you want to buy a bracelet, you have a different vision. But when you want to buy gold, you have a different understanding. Then whether you buy it in form of a bracelet or in a form of a necklace, irrelevant. You are simply going to ask, this should be gold. All right, you can bring a bracelet and still understand it is gold. You can bring a necklace and still understand it is gold. You can buy a gold chip, a gold brick, and still understand it is gold. Nothing prevents you. So therefore, what is an ornament, an appearance in the gold? What is a pot, an appearance in the clay? What is real? The clay is real, the gold is real. It is the reality of the gold which makes the ornament real, It is the reality of the clay that makes the pot real. And therefore, what is it that is giving the functional status of functional reality to the clay, to the pot? The clay. The clay provides the functional reality, meaning the pot can be lifted, the pot can be touched, the pot can be used to fill water, so on and so forth. So what is it that provides the functional reality to the pot is this clay. So the clay is the reality of the pot. The functional reality does not mean it is reality. What is it that makes it even functional is the clay. And therefore, the pot is only an appearance. That what is an appearance is called as false. False and appearance, both of them are the same thing. And so, now we have understood. In understanding the clay, we understand that the pot is only an appearance, is false. Okay? Exactly like that. So when the principle is grasped, we understand just as this is possible with the clay and the pot, so also the same principle becomes applicable even to Brahman and world. Even to Brahman and world. What is Brahman? The cause of this world. And the world does not have any existence apart from Brahman, just as the pot does not have any existence apart from clay. And therefore, just in the same manner, just as the pot is an appearance in the clay, even the even the world duality is only an appearance in Brahman. Now, this whole understanding in which the, the status of appearancehood of the prapancha of this world is understood is called as yauktika badha, inferential falsification. Inferential falsification. Drishyamanasya mithyatvanishchayena brahmatmamatratvanishchayo yauktikabadha. Okay. Then furthermore, go to the second paragraph in the original text. It says, yauktikabadhasya ayam kramaha. This is the sequence. This is the sequence. Because in the Yauktika Badha yesterday also we have seen that there are steps involved. A, B, C. There are steps involved in the Yauktika Badha, a sequence. So he says, now Yauktika Badhasya, in the inferential knowledge, in the inferential falsification, this is the sequence. What is it? Sthula prapancham sarvamapi sthula bhuteshu vilapya tatyatirekena tannasti iti nishchitya sthula bhutani Sukshma Vyashti, Sukshma Shariran, Samashti Vyashti, Sukshma Sharirancha, Sukshma Bhuteshu Vilapya, Tatrapi Prathavimapsu Vilapya, Apastejasi, Tejo Vayo, वायुमाकाशे आकाशं अश्याने अश्यानं चिन्मात्रे विलापयेन्. This is going to be of great use to all of those who practice meditation. Okay, we will continue with this in our next session. Om Brahmam Yat Prasadena Mayi Vishwam Prakalpitam Shrimad Swayam Prakashadhyam Pranamami Jagatam Guru Yah Paramatma Jagat Srishtva Pravivesh Punasvayam Tam Krishnam Pratyagatmanam Vande Gopi Manoharam Yasya Prasadadahamadvayatma Vishwam Samastam Mayi Kalpitancha Tan Sarvalokaikagurum Sadashri Swayam Prakasham Gurumanatosmi Gurunam Charanam Phojam Pranipatya Nirantaram Tatkripalyeshatu Dvaita Chinta Kaustubhamarabhe Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Sutrabhashkrito Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha.